I stood at my mother's birthday gala, held up a folder of receipts, and played the recording where she called me just a sponsor. The room froze. I was halfway through buttering my toast when the message came in. "We've changed the locks, gate code 2. Don't come back. We can't trust you anymore." It wasn't the words that stunned me. It was the cold efficiency of them. Like getting a corporate layoff notice from someone who used to rock you to sleep. No hi, no sorry, no hope you're okay, just terminated. I stared at the screen, chewing slowly, letting the sentence sit in my chest like a swallowed shard of glass. There was no follow-up text, no missed call, just silence. For a few seconds, I felt like I'd been dropped from a moving train, and everyone just kept going, laughing in the dining car without me. But then, I smiled, a small one, crooked, controlled. Because unlike them, I keep records. Unlike them, I know what silence is really worth. I didn't text back, I didn't call. Instead, I opened my banking app, scrolled to the autopay tab, and froze the mortgage draft I had been covering on their house for the last 42 months. You heard that right, their house. The same house they gifted to my sister Savannah in a family dinner so awkward I had to excuse myself mid-salad. No warning, no thank you, no return. They said she deserved it because she gave them grandkids. I only gave them headaches. Still, I kept paying the $2,000 a month quietly because I didn't want to see them fall apart. Not after Dad's second heart scare, not after Mom's spine surgery, not while Savannah was between jobs for the 4th time in 6 years. But that morning, they made the decision for me. I closed the banking app, finished my toast, and packed a bag. No drama, no yelling, just clarity. Because when someone sends you a message that says you're no longer part of the family, you don't argue. You audit the books. 3 days passed. No one reached out. Not even a half-hearted "let's talk" or an accidental emoji. Just digital tumbleweeds. Funny how silence, when you expect it, doesn't echo. It confirms. I spent those days in my new apartment. Bare walls, no curtains, echo in every step. It wasn't home, not yet, but at least it wasn't borrowed pride. On the 4th night, I opened the old family group chat. I hadn't deleted it. I don't know why. Maybe part of me wanted to believe someone, anyone, would stand up, would say, "This isn't right." But there it was. Same chat, new name. Knox Circle, no drama. The banner image? Savannah holding her twins on the front porch. The porch I paid to renovate after the flood. Caption in Comic Sans, "Built with love." I scrolled through months of messages I hadn't read. Dad sending pictures of the new grill. Savannah updating everyone on the twins' kindergarten application. Mom bragging about Savannah's freelance graphic design hustle. Not one mention of me. Not one "Julian helped with that," or "let's check with Julian." I wasn't erased. I was airbrushed out. A ghost in their group project. Then I saw it. A meme. A man holding out his wallet with the caption, "Big Brother Energy. Pay now, ask never." Underneath, tag Julian. 23 likes. Even from Aunt June, the one I used to help file taxes for free. That was the first time I ever felt cold in my own skin. Years ago, I paid off Savannah's $12,000 credit card debt after she totaled her car and still had to pay the lease. I paid her vet bills when her rescue dog bit the mailman. I even let her stay in my apartment rent-free for 9 months while she got back on her feet, and she left behind a dented fridge and a roommate who still owes me $600. But I never complained, because I thought that's what family does. Now I understood, they don't call it taking advantage when it's expected. I called the bank the next day. The woman on the phone was polite, soft-spoken, until she said this. "Looks like there was a request submitted to transfer primary ownership on the mortgage account last week to a Miss Savannah Knox." My blood froze. She continued as if reading the weather. They didn't complete the verification process, but the paperwork's been logged, just needs sign-off. That's when I knew. They weren't cutting me out, they were erasing me. Asset by asset, roll by roll, like I was just a placeholder until the ink dried. That night, I drove past the house. Lights on in every room. Dad probably watching sports. Mom folding laundry. Savannah's kids laughing in the front yard, blowing bubbles. My name still on the mortgage. My fingerprints on every light bulb replaced. But no place for me at the dinner table. It hit me. Loyalty is only noble when it's not treated like a lease. They didn't change the locks to keep me out. They changed them because they never saw me inside. I didn't call. I didn't knock. Instead, I drove home, opened a new spreadsheet, and for the first time in 4 years, I started calculating. Every dollar, every favor, every piece of me they wrote off as obligation. And when I added it up, it wasn't debt. It was proof. I don't remember when it stopped being about helping. Maybe it was the moment Mom asked me for a small favor, and it turned out to be co-signing a $35,000 loan for Dad's fishing boat that he sold a year later for half the value and never told me. Or maybe it was when Savannah used my old Social Security number to open a cell phone plan because hers had been flagged for non-payment. Maybe it was never about helping. Maybe it was always just about me being the one most likely to say yes. I started printing. Bank records, Venmo receipts, emails, tax returns showing the deductions I could have claimed but didn't because they asked me not to make it weird. I stacked everything into folders by year. Year 1, the roof repair. Year 2, the nursery remodel. Year 3, the emergency tooth surgery for their dog. Year 4, the silent year. That's what I called it. The year where no one thanked me, not once. Where I stopped being a person and became a utility with a beard and a 780 credit score. One morning, I found a handwritten card shoved under my apartment door. Cream envelope, gold foil, embossed script. You're invited. Margot Knox's 60th birthday gala. Black tie. RSVP required. There was no return address, no "Love, Mom." Just an invitation from your family. It didn't even say my name. That's when I knew. They weren't just locking me out. They were rewriting the narrative. I went, of course, but not empty-handed. 3 days before the party, I paid for a forensic accountant consultation. His name was Spencer, wore bow ties, drank cold brew like water. After I explained the situation, he looked at me and said, "So basically, you've been the silent investor in a fraudulent emotional Ponzi scheme." That wasn't the legal term, but I appreciated the poetry. He helped me build a clean, itemized report. Total contributions over 4 years, $218,744.29. All traceable, all banked, all indisputable. We added a thumb drive with time-stamped voice memos I recorded after the bank call. Then one from months ago. Mom and Savannah whispering in the hallway of the hospital while I waited outside alone with the bill. Savannah: "He's used to picking up the tab. He thinks it's love." Mom: "He thinks he owes us. Let him." And I did, until that moment. The party was exactly what you'd expect from people trying to outstage their own shortcomings. White drapes, champagne towers, gold balloon arches. Dad in a suit that didn't fit anymore. Savannah in green velvet like royalty. People I hadn't seen in years acting surprised I was even alive. No one asked why I hadn't RSVP'd. No one asked how I was. They just gestured toward the open bar like we were all one big sitcom family. I waited for the slideshow. The legacy reel, as Mom called it. Childhood photos, family vacations, Savannah's wedding, her kids. Not a single photo of me. I leaned over to the tech guy behind the screen, slipped him the USB. He nodded. Then I walked to the mic. No announcement, no music change. Just a man in a black suit holding a manila folder thick enough to be mistaken for a legal brief. I wasn't planning to speak, I said. Calm, cool, louder than I needed to be. But since we're celebrating legacy, let's get the numbers right. Slide 1, the total dollar amount. Slide 2, every transaction, line by line. Slide 3, a voice memo. Savannah's laughter. He thinks it's love. Mom's voice, let him. People gasped. Someone dropped a flute of champagne. Dad rose to speak. I didn't let him. You applied for a loan in my name, Howard. Remember that? He sat down. I turned to Savannah. You claimed this house, bragged about it, filed transfer papers under my mortgage. So let's be clear. If it's yours, then so is the debt. I held up the report. Thick, unignorable. You have 30 days. Or what? She hissed. Or I file a civil claim for financial abuse and asset misrepresentation, with backup. I'll include every photo, every receipt, every digital signature you forged. My mother stepped forward, voice trembling. You're ruining my birthday. I smiled, not kindly. I'm correcting your history. There was silence. Then a door creaked open in the back of the hall. Everyone turned. Grandfather Franklin, 87, frail but standing tall in a gray suit. No one had seen him in months. Whispers floated like dust. He took the mic. Margot, he said. Howard, you raised a boy to be a bridge, and you walked on him until he collapsed. He looked at me. I see you, Julian. I always have. And I updated the trust last week. Savannah's name is out. Yours is in, fully and irrevocably. You could have heard a dollar drop. Mom's face paled. Savannah blinked like a broken metronome. Dad looked ready to speak, but the mic was already on the floor. Franklin had dropped it, literally. I didn't stay for cake. I left the invoice on the gift table next to monogrammed candles and pity cards. And as I walked out, I said only one thing loud enough for the room to hear. You changed the locks, I changed the deed. 2 days after the party, my inbox lit up with an email from a name I didn't recognize. Subject, Proposal for Quiet Resolution. From Mitchell Crane, SQ. I didn't open it right away. I knew what it was. I didn't need to read the words to know that the people who hadn't spoken to me in months suddenly wanted everything to go away. Silently, privately, with dignity. Their dignity, not mine. When I finally opened it, it read like a man trying to iron out a crime scene. Mr. Knox, our clients are prepared to discuss a settlement regarding the financial misunderstandings surrounding your previous involvement with the family home. They request confidentiality and no further social or legal escalation in exchange for a mutually agreeable resolution. Misunderstandings? That's what they were calling it now. Like it was a scheduling conflict, like I'd sent $218,000 to the wrong address and just forgot to ask for a receipt. I didn't respond. Instead, I did something I hadn't done in months. I slept. 8 hours, no interruptions, no buzzing notifications, no early morning texts that began with, "Can you?" and ended with me doing the emotional lifting for a family that had long since stopped thanking me for it. I made coffee the next morning and sipped it slowly, watching the sun hit the hardwood floor of my apartment like a spotlight from another world. And for once, I didn't flinch when the phone rang. It was Franklin again. Did they reach out yet? He asked, no pretense. I said yes. He chuckled. They always call the bank after they burn the bridge. We talked for 15 minutes. Not about the settlement, not about the house, just life. The things we used to skip over in the rush to fix everything. At the end, he said something I'll never forget. Your father inherited property. You inherited perspective. One of those is taxed. The other saves your life. That afternoon, Mitchell Crane called. His voice was calm but rehearsed, the tone of a man paid not to panic. Mr. Knox, I'd like to confirm we received your public video. I must say, well produced. He meant the post I uploaded the night before. It was simple. One shot, clean background. Me holding the final invoice. $218,744.29. Caption: Facts have receipts. No names mentioned. No family exposed. But everyone knew. Mitchell continued, "Our clients are uneasy. This could escalate quickly. But they're willing to offer a significant reimbursement if we can avoid legal entanglement or further public interest." "How much?" I asked flatly. He paused, then said, "Half." I laughed, genuinely. "Daniel," I said, forgetting his name wasn't Daniel, but not bothering to correct it. "I have audio, I have documents. I have a forensic accountant who will testify that I was financially exploited for over 4 years." Silence. Then, "We understand. Would you be amenable to full repayment in exchange for a signed NDA and a statement acknowledging no malicious intent?" I leaned back. "I'll sign your NDA. I'll even write the statement. But I want every cent, and I want it wired. No checks, no installments. You have 72 hours. He cleared his throat. Understood. Exactly 72 hours later, the wire hit. $218,744.29. Sender: a shell business registered under a name I didn't recognize, likely someone's cousin's LLC. I didn't care. It cleared. I printed the confirmation, filed it in a folder marked Closure. And that was that. No one called to apologize. No one sent a "thank you for your discretion." I didn't expect them to. I didn't need it. I wasn't after healing. I was after truth. And now I had it in high-resolution PDF. A week later, Savannah posted a black screen on her Instagram story. White text in cursive font. "Some wounds are made by the hands that were supposed to hold you." Her friends flooded the comments. "Stay strong, sis. You don't deserve this. Family can be so cruel." I didn't reply. I didn't even screenshot it. Because Savannah wasn't talking to me, she was talking around me. Performing victimhood for people who didn't know the backstory, who didn't know she once called me a walking paycheck with abandonment issues in a message she forgot to unsend. They don't know she once joked, "Julian's just our family Venmo with a beard." They don't know, but I do, and that's enough. Mom finally reached out a few days later. One text, no greeting. "You humiliated me. You destroyed this family." I read it while standing in line at the DMV. Then I deleted it. Not to pretend it never happened, but to make space for the quiet that follows justice. Since then, I haven't been angry, just still. People say closure is about forgiveness, that letting go is how you heal. But that's not how it worked for me. Closure came through a wire transfer. Peace came in itemized rows formatted in Excel. Freedom looked like a 3-bedroom apartment with no family portraits and no strings attached. You don't always get a hug at the end of a storm. Sometimes you just get dry. And that's enough. After the money arrived, people assumed the story ended. They figured I celebrated, took a vacation, posted one of those cringy Instagram captions like "Healing Era Activated" with a picture of me on a beach drinking something with a lime wedge in it. But here's the truth. I didn't feel lighter. I felt clearer. It's a different kind of peace, less like relief, more like sobriety. Like waking up after years of white noise and realizing the sound you'd been calling home was actually static. I didn't rush to redecorate my life, didn't block my family, didn't post a tell-all. I just lived. Got up every morning, brewed coffee, made eggs in silence. Didn't check my phone before 9 a.m., sat by the window and watched traffic, not because it was interesting, but because it wasn't. I learned to enjoy boredom again. Which is funny, because when you grow up in a family like mine, boredom feels dangerous, like a sign you're not doing enough, not giving enough, not sacrificing something. But now, boredom felt like permission. Permission to not be useful, to not be the fixer, to not be a wallet disguised as a son. The calls stopped. No more late-night emergencies. No more cryptic texts like, "Hey, can you talk real quick?" which always meant they didn't want to talk at all, just transfer their panic into my hands. I changed my number, quietly. Didn't announce it, didn't warn anyone, just cut the cord. Savannah tried to email me once. Subject line, "We were kids. Can't we start over?" I didn't open it, because I knew what it would say. Some version of, "Let's pretend this never happened," written in lowercase apologies and vague references to trauma that never once included the part where she exploited her brother for 4 years. I don't retell the story often, not because I'm ashamed, but because there's no joy in it. No climax to replay like a victory lap, no satisfaction in watching someone else flinch from my pain. People think sharing is cathartic, but most days, it's just reopening the invoice. So when someone new asks, "Are you close with your family?" I just say, "I used to mistake access for love." That usually shuts them up. The hardest part isn't letting go of people, it's letting go of the idea that they'll come around someday. That one day they'll wake up and see you, not as a function, not as a fallback, but as a full person. That hope, that's the last chain, and breaking it hurts the most. Some days, I still catch myself rehearsing fake conversations in the shower. A fake phone call with my mom where she says, "I didn't know what I was doing." Or one with my dad where he admits, "I should have stopped her." Even one with Savannah where she just says, "I was jealous and I took it out on you." But those conversations never come. They're just echoes in a room I no longer rent. Instead, I've started renting something else, space in my own mind. Room for hobbies I never had time for, books I never read, dinners I cook for no one but myself. I picked up photography, nothing fancy, just a cheap film camera I found on Craigslist. It's strange, capturing moments no one's asking you to remember. Stranger still, realizing you finally can. Freedom doesn't come with confetti. It comes with receipts, clean exits, and a locked door you don't feel guilty for never opening again. And if you ask me what peace looks like, it looks like me, alone, unafraid, unowned. It's been 8 months. Long enough for the dust to settle, but not long enough to forget where it came from. The world didn't stop when I walked away from them. Bills still came, laundry still piled, coffee still brewed. But something inside me shifted from survival to sovereignty. I stopped managing their emotions like unpaid invoices. Now I manage my peace. I haven't heard from them, not once. Not a holiday card, not a voicemail, not even the passive-aggressive "hope you're doing okay" email Savannah used to send when she wanted to feel like the bigger person. And I'm okay with that. Some people grieve the silence. I framed it, literally. There's a photo on my desk, a sunset through the blinds in my apartment. The caption I wrote underneath it in thin black ink. No one yelling, no one asking, just me. Last weekend, I ran into an old neighbor at the hardware store. She knew my parents. She asked if I was back for the summer, like this was just a season and I'd eventually come home. I smiled. "No," I said, "this is home." She looked confused. People always do when your peace doesn't match their version of closure. Some nights I think about what I would say if I ever saw them again, but the truth is, I wouldn't say anything, because peace doesn't need punctuation. It doesn't need a scene. It just needs a locked door and the strength to stop rattling the handle.
I've stopped checking my old accounts, stopped looking for signs. I no longer need them to apologize, to understand, to even acknowledge what they did. I need something simpler: space, stillness, a life that doesn't require me to disappear to be accepted. They rewrote the story without me, so I wrote a new one, and this time I'm the only one holding the pen.